Welcome back to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We're brought to you by Pelican, built tough for all situations. Go to pelican.com. Yak Gadget, for all your fine kayak fishing accessory needs. Go to yakgadget.com. Eastport Marina, on the beautiful shores of Dale Hollow Lake. For all your lodging, kayaking, and fishing needs, go to eastport.info. Now let's get this show started.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Reel Down for another great show. I'm your host, as always, Jimmy Skinner. Not with me tonight, Dan Perry. He is not feeling too good, so hoping he don't have old COVIDia. Hoping him and his family's doing all right, and he'll be back next week. But yeah, we just wanted to bring everybody back for another great tournament show. This week we got the Kayak Anglers of Central Pennsylvania. They were doing a little event out on the middle part of the Susky, and with the next big national tournament coming up that everybody's excited about, the Hobie BOS at the Susky, we wanted to cover this tournament for sure. They had a bunch of folks, 55 people showed up for that 5-fish tournament, and there was a bunch of nice smallies caught, so we definitely wanted to get into this show and figure out how it's setting up now, give everybody a little bit of information that's planning on going down there. Talk history, talk tactics, figure out how these guys got on them, and make sure you stay tuned. We might have a couple special guest hosts popping on that are smallie nuts themselves, so they heard about this opportunity and wanted to come jump on with us. But without any further ado, we have my cursor has died on my mouse and I can't do it. There we go. We're going to do it with my finger. But without any further ado, coming in with us is Alex Fiolka, the winner from the event, and third place, JR Rentz. What is going on, guys?
How's it going?
There we go. Sorry about the delay. My mouse decided not to work anymore. We're good. Well, what's going on, man? I know, Alex, we've had you on before. JR, we're excited to have you. Y'all all caught up? Have a good fourth?
Yeah.
Too much fun.
We were bums yesterday, which I kind of was okay with. I say we were bums. I fished. Then we were bums. But well, so let's first do a little round of introductions. JR, since you hadn't been here before, just start off. Tell us, who you are, where you from, what you do when you're not kayak fishing, how you got into kayak fishing, just anything.
All right, JR Rentz. I live over here in South Jersey. Actually not too far from Ike and Ellie. He's about 10-15 minutes down the road.
Oh yeah.
And Greg DePalma also. I've been kayak fishing. This is my third year, second full year doing it. Kind of just wanted to do something a little bit different, a little bit new. I originally used to fish out of a bass boat. Grew up fishing since I was young. Outside of fishing, once fall comes, I do a lot of hunting. About it.
I hear you. That's so like you said you've been in it for about 3 years now. Did you get right into the tournament half? Have you always kind of done the competitive boat stuff, or did you just kind of dabble with it?
Nah, so all my fishing was just done just leisurely, just going out having fun all the time. And I got a kayak a couple of years ago, and did a couple like the online tournaments. There's month-long ones. Wasn't a real fan of it. And then I found out about MAKBF, joined on with those guys. And I think I did like one tournament, and I liked it. So last year I kind of jumped fully into it. And I just like being out there with all them guys just competing. And the group, MAKBF, I mean, those guys are amazing. The whole group is. The guys that run it, the tournament directors, and all the other fishermen. I mean, it's a good group of guys to fish with.
Man, you hear that too many times when it comes to kayak fishing. The people just seem to be better over here. If we've got anything to hang our hat on, I'm glad that's the thing we can. Well, what about you, Alex? Glad to have you back, man. Give everybody that doesn't know you a little bit about you, and for all of our usual listeners, give us a little rerun.
I Alex Fiolka. I live in Southern Maryland. I've been fishing with MAKBF since 2017, kayak bass fishing since 2017. Truth be told, I grew up in the Midwest. I didn't target bass until 2017. So, you know, it's kind of interesting to hear, some of our new members kind of consider me a veteran of our sport, but in all actuality, I'm a student of the sport. Always, trying to learn new things, and I've been fishing, since I was, young kid. My dad always, had me out walleye fishing, things, that are more prevalent in the Midwest, Glacial Lakes area. Got into kayak fishing and it has been game on ever since. So, it's just been, one thing after the other. I'm with JR. I think MAKBF has a really good thing going. We have a great, little thing going, and it's just been fun. Like I said, I'm a student of the sport, so.
Which is a good thing. Especially with fishing, you can't ever stop learning. I mean, there's always, new techniques, new tricks, God knows there's new lures, but
yes,
none of us need any more of that most of the time. But I feel like it's one of those things you can get kind of left behind quick if you don't keep learning and adapting and fishing.
Well, and I think for the most part too is I think some folks hit a comfort zone where they feel like they've achieved
Definitely.
something and they're no longer studious to the sport. Where I'm always willing to open an ear and ask questions and continue the learning process, and that's something that you look at people like Rick Clunn, who in my eyes are, just heroes of the sport. And
For sure.
he considers himself to this day a student of the sport. So I'm going to try and keep that mantra going as long as I can. So
I definitely hear it too many times when you're fishing with some people and they're like, they always have the same stuff they always do. Well, it catches fish. Well, that's true. But
yeah,
think of how much better you could be doing.
Oh, without a doubt.
Well, it's awesome, guys. I'm definitely glad both of y'all are part of our little world, or we wouldn't be having this show covering one of the best fisheries in the country, no doubt, especially for us that love chasing these old bronzebacks. But with that being said, if either one of y'all or both of you give us a little rundown of what the Susky is, and if you want to, you can do kind of a total rundown and then a rundown of the area that y'all were fishing for this event.
So go ahead, JR.
Nah, we're gonna go first.
Oh.
You're the champ here.
Well, I will tell you, right now the Susky is low. Hold on one second. Sorry, guys.
Oh, you're good. All right, you're stuck going first now.
I'll jump in. I know he got me on that one.
Yep.
Yeah, as Alex was saying, it's low. Harrisburg gauge right now is reading about 3.5 foot. There's a lot of spots. Probably most of the river. I mean, you can walk across. You're talking knee high, ankle high in a lot of spots too. It's kind of fun on the fish into not deeper water, but some of that faster current water. If you look, the way the mountains come through that river, there's troughs that run from east bank to the west bank, and those fish will get in there during the summer, drop in there, getting all that food dropping over. The grass, all that grass is now coming up. They're all getting up in there to keep cool during the day. The flow's slow, so doing a float or anything like that, which I've never done up there. I like single access because I just like to focus on a big area as much as possible. Kind of break it down, figure out my thing.
No, I definitely. And so you said what the gauge is around 3. What like if it was like the perfect scenario, what kind of levels do y'all like to see out there, just to give everybody a kind of an idea of how low is right now?
I would say probably about a foot higher.
Yeah.
Like to be perfect for the Hobie event coming up, if it was maybe about a foot higher, and then the 2 days of the event, maybe if it was rising just slowly 6 inches,
Yeah.
I think that kind of be ideal, at least
And
for my scenario.
Right. And for people that are listening, that, because, especially, most of the people listening to us are really coming from the bass boat tournament fishing things, which is not on places like these waters. So for anybody that doesn't know, a foot doesn't sound like a lot. So we're not talking about 3.5 foot being like he said it himself. Gage is reading 3.5 foot, but places are ankle deep on a moving body of water that has a lot of current, a lot of speed to it. Normally a foot is a huge difference. So, coming up that 1 foot's not only going to, obviously increase depth, but it's going to give you that there's so much more volume of water, so much more movement. And fish and smallmouth, I mean, they love that current. Like you said, a lot of people refer to them as stupid fish because they're just basically opportunistic fit. I mean, when you get on a good smallie water, you know where they're at. They're wherever the bait's easiest to come straight to them.
I got there's a little creek over, well, not little, it's called the Brandywine River. It runs through Delaware and Pennsylvania, and it flows into the Delaware River. And that's kind of where I grew up in Delaware, but fishing the Brandywine Creek, Brandywine River, which is, man, a fraction the size of the Susquehanna, but it's predominantly smallmouth and everything like that. So, I mean, I just grew up wading in that and fishing for those smallmouth. That's just what I like. That's just where I'm comfortable.
I hear you. While we're talking about it, these two goofballs just popped in at the perfect time where you said smallmouth, so we now know that they are interested in the conversation. So for anybody that's listening that can't see it, we got the final cast crew in here, Matt Sowders and Brad Hicks. I know that y'all would want to hop on and hang out when we're talking smallmouth up on the Susky. So,
I've never been there, but I love smallmouth.
Exactly.
Best
all we've got to so far is that the Susky's low right now, and full of smallies, and we're letting them get into it now. And Alex is just about to give us his rundown of what the Susky is and how it looks and sets up normally. So, your turn.
Well, it's close to heaven. Never been to heaven, but if I don't know. I'll be plumb honest with you.
It's true.
My span of fishing on the Susquehanna only goes back about 6 or 7 years. And it's different every time, as I think most smallmouth bodies of water generally are. But the cool part about the Susquehanna River and the upcoming Hobie BOS is that nobody knows where this river is going to be at come time to fish it. So it's going to take a lot of work. Whoever takes home the crown jewel of this event, their pre-fishing is going to have to be perfect. You think 200 people, it's a big body of water. It covers a lot of miles. But you've got people that are going to be beating these fish up at minimum a week out for some of the locals that, can avoid taking time off of work. They're going to be 2 weeks, 1 week out. These fish are going to be super, super pressured. Next weekend, you've got a KFL event. You've got a Pennsylvania State Slay Nation event going on top of hundreds of recreational fishermen that fish that river every weekend. It's going to be, I'm not saying it's going to be tough, but it's going to be tough. These
and then
fish,
take into account, like, if it doesn't come back up,
if it doesn't come back up, Tractor Supply is going to be run out of tractor inner tubes because rotomolded kayaks just ain't going to go down it anymore. But
yeah.
It's going to turn into the Hobie BOS float tube event.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to allow, the little cupcake tube or the donut tubes going down the river. The pool stores are going to be sold out. But
I'm all for the pizza
it's
tube.
going to be good.
There you go.
I'm really, really interested to see what happens here because everyone right now is super concerned with low water event. But I think that ace in the hole is going to be it's July, it's thunderstorm season, it's rain season. We all know what happens to these rivers when we get a big rain up north. They jump. And I know there's local guys fishing the BOS. Not me, because I'm not local. It's still almost 3.5 hours away. So there's guys that fish that river every weekend, after work, before work. When that thing jumps, and when it jumps high, those guys know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm going to call it right now. If this thing jumps, I'm going to say it. It's going to be won by a local. I may have to eat my words here. But or the locals will prevail in the higher because they've got so much experience of where those fish congregate on high water timeframes. Mm-hmm. If it stays low, I think it's anyone's game. Or if it stays at a normal pool where, fish are more dispersed.
Right.
But that's my take on it. For what it's worth, it's not worth a lot. But that's just my prediction. So, but there was points last Saturday, man. I felt like you could have tied on an old Budweiser can and caught them. They were just chewing,
That's how I feel like Brad fishes for smallmouth. He just catches smallmouth without trying.
It's so annoying, because I'm always out with them. You're preaching to the choir, Jimmy.
Yeah,
it's so the last couple times though, I've either kept up or fished better. But yeah,
there you go.
He's slacking off.
I'm having a bad year, man.
I know.
Oh my god,
he's having a bad year, and I'm having a decent. We go out and I catch 4 or 5 fish, and he's caught 47 channel catfish and 3 smallmouth. That literally happened. That's not an exaggeration. It had. He's like, this is the best spot for smallmouth. Nope, channel catfish every single cast. It was hilarious. I laughed.
The Susquehanna has no shortage of catfish, so there will be plenty of those to contend with as well.
Oh man, I hate them.
Yeah, they're up there among potholes on new tires, man. So,
but it's fishing good though.
It's fishing great.
I just had a guy that's on our team for Doom. I gave him a spot to go up and practice. He went up there, not yesterday, the day before, I believe, and said, "Here, toss this, toss that, go here." He ended up 92 inches for his best 5.
Jeez.
So I mean,
that's a bag.
I've never got close to that.
It's the same spot I had almost 96 inches last month.
Wow.
So I mean, it's fishing very good right now.
So Brad, we know where we're going next.
I'm lucky to hit 90 on our local river in Ohio.
Because I think Alex, you had what, 92?
92.
So Alex had 92. We had 4 people with over 90 inches.
That's awesome.
I made a few mistakes on a couple more bigger fish. I had some 17s to get rid of, and I don't measure my fish unless they're on the catch board, but I'm willing to throw it out there that I had a couple more upgrades that got the best of me. So I think and you look at this event and the positivity going towards it and how much enthusiasm is there. I mean, you look, we had Jordan Marshall and Eric come up to fish a local Pennsylvania event, a few weeks. That's a big deal for me. That means people are, they're gas isn't cheap right now to make the trek, a couple weeks in advance of a tournament to try and, just pick up a little more, maybe it was for feelers or maybe it was for spots. I don't know. But there's a lot of enthusiasm behind this event. It's going to be a fun one, not only to compete in, but it's going to be a fun event to kind of watch see what transpires, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It always is, because I was going to say, for y'all to not be local and then, come in, bust over 90 inches each and, really get on the quality fish. And that's exactly how the Hobie's going to set up. A lot of non-local people, you usually do pretty good there.
Sure.
But I do think with how it is set up right now, with it being low, and like you said, it's summer, it's storm season. Everybody's complaining about, oh God, it's so low. I mean, it could be blown out in a month. Like,
oh yeah, I mean, we're so
6
far
feet
away.
and freaking running, so,
Yeah.
and that's
6,
when
8.
you said, maybe those locals do get that edge then. But so y'all both said, I don't know if we've said it on the show yet, y'all are both getting ready. Y'all are both signed up and fishing the Hobie event. So like we've already said, again, it's a month out, so a lot of stuff can change. Did either of y'all, we'll talk about y'all's pre-fishing a little bit, did y'all put a lot of time in getting ready for this event, or did y'all just kind of fish off of what you've, like history, what you've known before there, or how did you approach it? We'll let JR start.
So I'm about 2 hours away. I try to get up there once a month because I love that place.
Oh, I feel you. If I lived anywhere close, you wouldn't keep me off of it.
Right. I'm glad I don't live much closer. But I got 2-3 spots to the south, and then I got a couple spots to the north that I'm just familiar with. I fished numerous times. I know there's fish there. And fishing for this Saturday, it was kind of last minute because I was supposed to get out with my parents for the weekend, and some things fell through. We had some other stuff going on. So I asked my wife on Friday, I'm like, hey, you mind if I jump in this tournament Saturday? She's like, yeah, go ahead. So I threw all kinds of stuff together on Friday, got everything all ready, drove up there Saturday morning. The place I fished, it was only the third time I've ever fished that spot. So, but I kind of knew what it was like. I knew what I was getting into.
You're right.
I knew it was to get where I had
you
to
knew
go,
enough to have a
shallow
little
area.
bit of confidence.
Yeah. So I kind of just went out there, and I think by 9-10 o'clock I had about, it might have been sooner than that, about 84 inches.
Ooh.
So, and I thought I was running away with it. I mean, and it was a consistent bite. And then it kind of died off around noon, but I kept throwing what I was throwing, and I was still getting bites, and I was able to upgrade, I think, 2 more fish throughout the day. And that was upgrading a 16 and a 17 that I had.
That's
phenomenal.
Because there's spots in that river that are just dead.
Yeah.
There's just big dead areas.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you can find the fish, I mean, you're generally going to find a decent amount that at least get you a limit.
Yeah. That was the next question I was about to ask is, so I'm from down here in Alabama. So our smallmouth fishing is either, deep ledge stuff, or we've got a bunch of like backwater creeks with, river smallies in them, but it's not anything close to, Susky like. And I was going to ask if it's one of those situations where usually when you get in an area and you get a bite, to get right back in there because there's like a little wolf pack of them, or is that typically, or is there a lot of just finding like one big alpha in each area?
So mine was kind of spread out over a large area. I had a couple spots where I did catch I get a 16 and 17, or I get to another spot, I pull a couple 16s out of it. But then come noontime, I started circling back where I went through again, and that's where I went right through the same places, and I pulled a 19 and a half, I think. I pulled I think an 18, where earlier I called a 16. So it's just, it was, I don't know how to explain it. I know the fish were there.
Yeah.
I spooked a couple and seen them going. It's just, I know with them fish, if you give them time, they're going to bite.
Yeah.
After you spook them.
So
that's why I just kind of circled back around and took my time.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like, I mean, I'm even guilty of that sometimes. Get in an area, catch a fish, and then not think about the fact that sometimes the first fish you pull out of a school or a little group does run the rest of them off. It hardly ever runs them off for good. Just like you're saying, you usually, if you just let them chill, let them rest, they'll group right back up. And I don't know, I know I'm guilty of like leaving and then not coming back. I don't think about it again. Like, I don't know, and Matt and Brad, I don't know if Brad ever has that problem. I think Brad just catches fish, but I know me and Matt are on the same page. We both suck at fishing.
Yes, 100%. Terrible. Yeah, no, I it's the same thing to where that's something I've actually worked on and learned this year. Last year, I'd catch a fish in a spot, and I'd watch fish leave, and I'd be like, oh well, I've turned those fish off the rest of the day. And this year, if I catch a fish in a spot and I see fish leave, I'll take my time. If it's a measurable fish, I'll take time, pick pictures, and make a quick, stupid Instagram stuff. I don't know. Those are getting a lot of traction right now, so I'm about it. Or I'll do like a funny video or something like that, like I posted yesterday or something. And then I'll just wait and I'll go up maybe a little bit and fish more. And then I'll come back 10 or 15 minutes later and those fish will be right back and I'll get another one out of there. That's kind of what I did on Thursday when me and Brad went out, caught a fish, little fish. I was like, okay, I thought I saw something spook, but I was like, I don't know, maybe it's something else. But I remembered that in the back of my head. Well, try it again. So I went up 15 feet, fished somewhere else, got another fish, and then I casted back to that spot, and then I caught another fish on that cast.
Yeah.
So, it's exactly like JR saying, those fish, they might spook off, and like you're saying, Jimmy, they might spook off, but you just let them take a minute to realize there's nothing there. They're going to go back, and they typically will go back to that spot they were at they were there for a reason, so they're going to go back for a reason.
And especially this time of year, I don't like something that made me like really pay more attention to it. I've gotten back into watching the pros and the elites and stuff like that, and like summertime is when they're schooling. Of course, there's more than one fish there. I mean, now if you're fishing in the back of a creek, it's probably a little different, but especially and even more so with smallmouth. Man, smallmouth usually are in their little wolf pack groups, so you've got to just keep firing in there. So I've made it a habit now. Like I really focused on it yesterday. I'd catch one on the A-rig, and I'd make sure I just threw straight back into that same spot with the A-rig again. Just somebody that's I feel like notorious on moving baits doing that is Kevin Van Dam. If you ever watch him when he gets on his cranking bites,
oh man,
he catches one cranking, makes the same cast, catches another and makes the same cast, bombing casts.
I was about to say the difference though is Kevin Van Dam's throwing the crankbait like 2.5 clicks. Like 2.5 kilometers down the lake and covering 400 yards.
I did watch. I mean, I can bomb one, but I watched some elites, and they had the camera on him, and then the camera looked where he was casting, and I was like, "What size reel are you using? How much line's on that?" Like,
have you seen his crankbait setups? They're all medium, heavy, moderates, most of them, with a 300 size reel, and he's throwing a standard size crankbait, like a Kevin Van Dam crankbait, a quarter
out of
mile.
the county.
Like I can launch an XD for days, but like with these, like I can throw it. But man, he's just doing something stupid. Like
he don't use brakes either on his reels, does he?
No, all his reels are all free flowing. He doesn't have a brake on any of them. He is the fishing god.
Well, that's why he's won more money than everybody else. So,
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, there's a reason.
I feel bad for the guy that argues that with you.
Oh yeah, it'll be a bad argument because there's no arguments need to be two-sided, and there's nothing to say he can't do that. So
yeah,
like, well, no.
Not when he's using like a 300 size reel with no brakes.
He's using like a musky setup to catch
some sort of a balsa crankbait,
Yeah, I mean it's just insane. Anyway, that's off track. But yeah, Jimmy, what you were saying, I agree.
Yeah. That's how anybody that ever listens to us get talking, we go down rabbit holes. For anybody that listens to their show, the one they just recorded, I hopped in on, and we went way off track very quickly. So
yeah,
be ready.
For like 10 minutes. It was a deep hole.
Deep. Well, Alex, how about you? I know you've got experience out there as well. Did you get into any pre-fishing, or did you just kind of show up and swing for it?
I actually met a friend 2 weeks ago. That was it. Now, I didn't know I was going to fish this event. It was one of those things. It was like, oh, there's an event going on. It's before the Susky. It's always fun to fish local events. And I will tell you, those Central Kayak anglers, they run an awesome event. Mike Reinhold, great guy. They're just always really well put together, so you always know what you're getting into. It's not, I don't fish their events often, but when I do, I know what I'm getting. Like your money's going to a good place. It's like, I don't know, you see it online, like buy with confidence. Well, I can say, from experience, to anybody listening, if they're thinking about doing one of their tournaments, fish them with confidence because you're getting a well-ran event. And if you fish enough events, the good ones from the bad ones or the not so great ones. Those ones are always really well ran. Those guys in Pennsylvania, they're good anglers on that river, man. They're really good. You go up there going, geez, how bad am I going to get my butt kicked this time? Because they just live there and they live on the river. And, it's like when the river changes, they change, they know how to match each other. So to do well on one of those events is actually, for me, it's a big deal because I don't take for granted other angler skill levels. I actually give credit to them,
Oh, for sure. And it's always nice to go beat somebody on their home turf for all the reasons you just said.
Well,
and I don't mean that from a rude standpoint.
Yeah,
I didn't win. I got second a few weeks ago, and I beat all the people I wanted to beat there, the people that are normally at the top of the list. And I was like, well, heck yeah. I feel like I can hang my hat on that.
It's good for your confidence, but you can't let it go too far.
Exactly.
You leave, you're excited, like nothing feels better than a win. But soon after, you've got to roll it back and say, okay, time to start focusing for the next event. Make sure your head fits through the next door you walk through. Because just as soon as you do well, you can get it stomped back in the mud just as fast and, go the opposite direction. So you just try and do as much preparation, to be successful at the next event. Every time I fish with JR, we're always right there with each other. He's a fun angler to fish with or fish against. I consider him a good friend, but he's always up there. Seems like we're always just scratching at each other's throats, which is fun.
Here we are.
If anything, it's good for the both of us. To just keep focused throughout the day. It was fun Saturday. I met up with him before anybody else really showed back up at the award ceremony. And I just looked at him and I was like, that was fun. It was 1 minute you're in front, and then the next minute, bloop, you're behind again. And then you get in front, you're leapfrogging throughout the day. And that is good old fashioned, clean living fun.
Are y'all close enough buddies that y'all text? Are y'all close enough buddies? Y'all text each other, trash talking back and forth during
No, I don't. No, we fish, man. We ain't got time for all that. No, but we are close enough buddies. After we had a fun little Angler of the Year showdown last year, and it was close, real close, close, tied close. And after the cards fell, we went out for beers and dinner afterwards, and it was fun. And that's what I love about kayak angling is you can be a fierce competitor, but you really, really, in my opinion, you show your true class, how well you wear it when you're up front and how well you wear it when you're, maybe behind. And JR wears it well in every situation. So one of those people I really look up to.
Appreciate that. And honestly, the same goes for Alex too. Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about this guy.
We had a good time out there. I mean, every time JR and I are fishing with each other, it's tight. So
it is. I'm serious. It comes down to
it's quarter.
Like he said, it just comes down to inches. He had me by an inch on this tournament.
That's awesome.
I was in third. He was in first by an inch.
Yeah. I'm telling you, if you want to take it to the next level, you got to work on the psychological play because now that y'all are, your friends, that's when it's okay to do that. Because that's how we do. Like when I was doing good in that tournament I was in, my buddy messaged me and was like, "You need to stop catching all my fish and move off my spot," which I wasn't on a spot or anything. But that for me like opened the door. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
and then I
no.
immediately caught 2 more good fish, and I sent him a message back and was like, go check the leaderboard now, bitch. And I'd passed him.
Yeah.
And then he showed up in my area with me and was like, hey, buddy.
Yeah. No,
Well,
that,
I mean,
that's,
what else? Go ahead, X.
or no, that stuff's all fun. It's just like, you know, when you can have good competition like that, and at the end of the day, you know, just walk away from it just as happy if he, you know, does it, because he's beat me just as many times as, you know, it's gone the other direction. And I think we both end up laughing or smiling as we, I see you next time, you know, kind of thing. And
it's, you know, we always get hit on the camaraderie of kayak fishing is just next level compared to any of the other. Like, I would almost go out on a limb and say basically probably any other sport. You know, everybody's just very tight knit, and you know, you want to win, but it doesn't seem like people really get bummed about it. And when it all comes down to it, I mean, even though some of these events pay out, it's not life-changing money.
No.
So there's not really any reason to get upset, you know?
No.
Like, especially like y'all did. Y'all both had fantastic days, caught in the 90s, caught nothing but smallies. What's there to be upset about? Like, it's a good day.
It was one fish could have made it go any other way. So, you know, it was just, I caught that big upgrade, and that was a day changer for me. But I you know, I can go back afterwards and go, had I not caught that, I'd have been in, you know, we'd have swap places or something, you know.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, when it comes to the competitive side, I mean, I'm fierce. I'm out there to win. I don't ever. I think it's silly to enter an event that you don't go for that spot. You know, if you're selling yourself, oh, I hope I get a top 10. No BS.
Hope you win.
Yeah. Now, at the end of the day, after that, you've got to put yourself in realization and say, hey, look, you know, we'll pick it up and do it again next time or whatever. But I don't ever enter an event to get third place. Even, you know, even Hobie BOS events where I know it's just like, you know, I am in someone else's territory and I am not in my wheelhouse, but
I'm here to win.
I'm going to go out there and give it everything on the table and leave it all out there, because at the end of the day, I've got money invested. I've got time invested. That's what I'm going for. And if it don't work out, it don't work out. So be it. But that's my plan.
Maybe that's the thing I'm missing from from my game, because I try to take it serious and I feel like I spin out. What's been working for me here lately is just like I sign up and I'm just like, no, I'm there. Whatever happens, you know. Now, and then when you start doing, I guess when I start doing better, like the competitive edge starts to turn on a little bit. My mind starts to really dig into it. But if it's like not going good, I don't let it get to me anymore. It's just like, I mean, I was just here anyway. It was only $200. Who cares? Blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know. But that may just be how I deal with the stress, I guess.
Well, so this has been like, this is a fun little story. So this year I'm not fishing any of just a handful of the MAKBF events, but I've been going around taking pictures of our anglers, you know, trying to help them promote themselves or whatever, you know, give them some cool hero shots. And I follow JR around, and JR's laser focused. He don't talk much. He's just, you know, kind of like, he's in the zone like me, like I would be. And I know you guys know who Trey Leach is.
Yeah.
I follow him around, and that is the most relaxed, and he's a great angler, always up there. But it's like, holy cow, nothing spins that guy out. I mean, he could be going through a catastrophe and just look at you and laugh and be like, whatever, you know, like, and I'm like, I wish I was like that. I wish, you know, because I have tendencies of spinning out. I think we all have. But Trey Leach is just like, whatever, just takes it and deals with it and moves on, you know, like.
There's some people like, I haven't fished with him, but like Jody Queen's one of those people I feel like's like that.
Yeah.
Seeing some of his footage and how like, I mean, how he took himself out of that tournament over the PFD thing. Like,
he's collected.
Just calm. I will never be that collected or calm.
I think there's a happy medium you got to get. And something works different for everybody. Like I was like Alex and JR. I was like that a lot in tournaments. I was just didn't want to talk. if I was having a bad day, I, like everybody, you have a tendency to want to spin out and get frustrated or something. But I think like another thing I was going to work on this year, but I haven't really got to do a whole lot of tournaments yet. But anyway, is kind of trying to find a happy medium to where, like Jimmy, like, oh, I'm just going out. It's at the end of the day, I'm just fishing. But at the same time, I'm going out to fish to win.
Yeah.
So it's finding that medium to where I can stay laser focused. But if I lose a fish, for example, that would have been a kicker fish or something like that, I'm not going to let the whole day take a turn. Like, okay, collect myself. I lost that fish, move on, get the next one. And then at the end of that, if you don't place well at the end of that, it's not, oh, well, I lost and I suck.
Excuse me 1 minute.
Oh, you're good. No, I lost and I suck and whatnot. It's, I did this and this and this right, but I did maybe this wrong, or that hooks. I lost that fish because I didn't have hooks that right or whatever. I did something wrong, and I can learn from that, fix it, so it either doesn't happen again, or next time if it does happen, it's something I can work on. So I think that happy medium is
sure
the ultimate goal. But
yeah, and that's kind of what this year's been for me is like I don't worry. Like I've been I show up at the ramp on time, but I've been letting myself be the last one to launch.
Yeah.
Just chill. Just not rush. Like
those are those mind games that you're talking about, though.
Yeah, that is not me.
Yeah.
If I'm peeling away from the ramp and I see you just sitting there laughing at me as I'm pedaling my brains out, I'm going to be like, oh, what's he got up his sleeve?
Yeah.
And that is, I've never thought about that way. That probably is I don't know. That makes me want to do that more often now.
There you
it's
go.
Like,
that's
what you don't
signature.
know is Jimmy's
I
got
have
3
no
rods
clue
with A-rigs and 2 rods with frogs on it, and that's what he's throwing.
That's it. But like I said, like you're talking about the medium and everything, though. For me, that's what it's been. It's just like calm, relaxed, and then, but like that tournament, I was out doing stuff I don't normally do, no confidence in that stuff, and then when I got on that first big fish, and I was like, okay, looked at the leaderboard, was like, okay, nobody's on them yet. Next cast got another big fish. Then it was like switch. It's like, all right, game time, time to grind. And that's what's been working so far. So we'll see how it goes. But well, let's get into y'all's actual tournament day. We know JR, we'll let you go first. We know that you got on them, like you said, you got into the mid 80s pretty quick. But kind of walk us through your day, and without giving away your area, just kind of how it was.
So yeah, I put in. I got out across the shallow area, kind of out to mid river. And the river's huge. I mean, it's wide. It's loaded with islands. Kind of knew where I wanted to be. So I got out there, started fishing. And what I like to do, I like to fish upriver. I like having those fish looking upriver, cast it to them, and bring my lure back. That's just less chance of spooking them.
I got a question for you. You mentioned fishing mid-river. What do you look for when fishing mid-river? Because this is something that I need to work on myself.
So it's, I don't know how to describe it. So the Susquehanna.
Don't give anything away either.
Nah.
I feel like that's part of what he's doing. He's like, God, I don't know how to.
No, you don't got to worry about it. I'm not.
So you have the channel. I mean, like you get the channel swings and stuff like that with any river.
Yeah.
So, and it could flow. It could be on the east side, then it flows to the west side, and so forth. So, as I said earlier, there's lots of dead parts in this river.
Mm-hmm.
The west bank of where I was, I know it holds a lot of small fish. I'm talking 8, 9, 10-inch fish. Getting out towards that mid-river, I knew that the channel, the deeper part of the river, was on the east bank of where I was. So it was from about mid-river going towards the east bank. You had some slightly deeper water. That was where your faster water was, around those islands that I was fishing. So I just started. I mean, you can have, talking an island maybe the size of a couch, to 30 acres. I mean,
Oh, wow.
so what I would do was just work each side of the islands, behind the island, in front of the island, then move on to the next one. And that's what I did. And I just kept hitting each island. And the big ones, I'd fully circle the whole entire thing.
Okay.
And after I had them all knocked out, I started back at the first one and started making my way back through again. Then I'll tell you, it was tubes. My tubes, I generally don't use that in the shallower water, the faster water, but some of the deeper pockets, throwing these dry creek tubes.
God, I love tubes.
Yes.
Oh, I love tubes.
And honestly, that's what my bigger fish come on usually when I'm up there fishing. Is I know if I'm throwing a tube, I'm gonna get a bigger fish, generally speaking.
Brad's going to take notes because he asked about tubes today on
I
Instagram.
did.
And then
I need to throw 'em
spinner
more, man.
baits.
I love the spinner bait.
The spinner
That's
bait
rad.
is just I couldn't get a. I like throwing the chatterbait. I love throwing chatterbait, just like we all do.
Mm.
That's the number one thing for a kayak angler is a chatterbait.
I feel
I
like
could
every
not
time
get a-
somebody's like, "Yeah, I don't throw it," and I'm like, "Well, you're wrong." Like,
Right.
that's what this is.
You're just dumb.
I just could not get a bite going on it. I mean, I tried and tried, and I mean, and when I was up there in May, I mean, I friggin' killed them on a custom chatterbait made by a tackle company. It's local to that area, custom color and everything. I mean, I freaking killed them on it. And so I tried getting that going, wouldn't go. So I went throwing the spinner bait, and it was just lights out. I mean, it was just like boom, boom, boom. I
So
mean,
in
it
a-
didn't matter
in
where
a-
I was throwing it.
In a big moving water place like the Susky, that's got like you said, you're liking to fish upstream, throw it into the current. You know, do you like a heavier one that you can get to kind of do its actual action, or do you like to throw the smaller one, and when it comes through into these like higher percentage areas that either they're already getting on it because of predation and predatory action, or you like to keep it small for the profile of what the other bait that they eat? Like, what's your thought behind the spinner bait and somewhere like that?
So I've got two rigged up. They're almost the same identical color. One is for throwing into the current, and another one is throwing in a little bit more of slack water. So if I might throw behind the island or in front of the island where it's a little bit slower water, I'm throwing the one. And if I might throw into some faster current, I throw the other one.
Different weights.
Yeah. Well,
Do you mind
one's
showing
more.
us your
What?
He said, "Do you mind showing?"
I'll tell you
Colors,
what is,
size.
the guy's local there is John Styler. He's Snagler Tackle Company, and he's just got some awesome colors for up there. And that's that. I mean, I got a box of spinner baits, and they're all by him. It's just all these custom colors. He guides on the river, so I mean, he's very familiar with the place. So I throw these particular colors, and it just there's one's a river thumper. It'll fall and come through the current a little bit better. It's almost got like an Indiana blade on there.
Ooh.
Gives that a little bit more thump. And then he's got another couple different variations. There's a thin wire one. That's the one I usually throw where there's a little bit less current.
Okay.
What else? That's really about the only two things I really threw. I said I wanted that chatterbait, but I just couldn't get that bite going.
And with your tube, are you just kind of like, is that your like slack water area situation, or?
Yeah, where it's a little bit deeper. I'm not throwing it real shallow. Like I'm bringing a lot of my fish were caught in that spinner bait in probably 1.5 feet less of water.
Mm.
And I mean, I'm running that right down the side of the islands, and the islands are they're all lined with grass. And I mean, they're just kind of holed up in there, here and there.
Yeah, just hunting out of the
Um,
grass for ambush
yep.
and stuff. Yeah.
I'm gonna go out on a limb
Um,
and say Brad's gonna like have a post by the end of the week of him like smacking him on a smallmouth, tagging you on Instagram. Thanks for the tips. Called that tackle
Thanks,
guy.
Yeah. Well, I already got a couple spots in mind, except like our river's a little different. We got like rock islands in the middle. It's not real grassy. So,
Okay.
but
This whole
kind of
river
similar.
is lined with islands, and they all have grass. I mean, just about
Yes.
everyone. Your big ones kind of don't have it on the sides, but they'll have it on the back end and the front end.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But your smaller islands all got grass on them and stuff.
Hmm.
But I mean, up beyond, I mean, there was islands on the west side where I put in that, but they were only holding smaller fish. I had to get out more mid-river, closer to where that channel was, which now I'm not. It wasn't much of a channel. It might have been 4 or 5 foot deep, as opposed to where I was fishing.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's a big island I fished, and I was catching fish on the west side of it, which them fish would have had to go all the way around the island to get out to the east side. But it was more shaded too. So you got that low water, and I mean, the water temperature I had was 81 degrees. So I mean,
That's crazy to think about on like just because of like pictures I've seen of when that river's up and running. Just to think of like in my head when I see it, I'm like, yeah, it probably never sees over 70. Like
now that river's changed a lot since last year. Because I haven't the spot I fished Saturday. I haven't fished it at all this year. I only fished it once last year, and that was during one of our MAKBF events up there. And I get out there and I'm looking for this particular huge tree and this kind of cut through this island. It wasn't even there no more.
Huh.
Now I know
That's
they had a
my
lot of
favorite
ice running
thing.
down there this year and all that. So, I
Yeah.
mean, from last year to this year, I mean, it changed. I mean, it took out an island and a tree, and
that's my favorite thing
it's
about
crazy.
the rivers and the creeks here is we've had a few good years where a lot of flooding in the spring. So it's even if the fishing wasn't good last year, it's always fun to go back because it changes everything. Like you said, I've seen trees that look like they've been there since like Jesus walked the earth, and there's no way something could move it. And then like I went this year, and this like 5.5 foot across oak tree is gone. And these are creeks. This isn't somewhere like a boat's going down with a chainsaw to get rid of it. Like that. And then, but like then you go around the next corner and you're like, well, there used to be a gravel beach here with a subtle point, and now it is literally the river is cutting through where that used to be. Like it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like it moved thousands and thousands of tons of earth with water pressure, but it sets up all sorts of new stuff. That's what the long story short, it's always different, which is back to what we were talking about at the very beginning with Alex. Is you got to always be learning. Whether
you
go
look at a Google pic the area from the most recent Google pic, which I think was like last year or the year before, and then you get out there and you look and you're like, this looks nothing like that Google picture.
Damn you, Google, you're wrong.
Right?
Yeah, I've definitely learned for rivers, you're not doing a whole lot of map study like you would like for especially lakes. You can map study a lake from Google and go back and like see. There's a lake by us. It's called Caesar's Creek. There's literally an old town at the bottom of it that they flooded and all that back in the day. And you can look at old Google images and you can see where it was low, where structure is, things like that. But with the river, you can go back and every year it will look completely different. And it looks like nothing like it did now. So you can, like there's certain spots like major rivers. I mean, even those, like the Ohio looks way different than it did 5 years ago. And that's a huge body of water that, there's no such thing as map study. It's on the ground, putting work in the boat itself to find stuff.
My whole thing with rivers is there's no map studying other than looking for access points. That's the only thing I'm doing.
Yeah. Some of those are gone too.
Yeah.
I'll look for riffles and stuff, but that's about it.
Now I will do that just to show if I'm in an area that is, prone to have good current. But I've been to a lot of those when you get there and that stuff's gone too.
It's gone. Yeah. Believe me, I found an access point that had moved about 2 miles down the river. It was just torn off, and it used to be an access point. It's not anymore. So
Find the boat ramp 2 miles away.
yeah, dude, it wasn't good. It's Brad. I'm pretty sure if I told, it's over in Piqua, that boat ramp, the little one. It's not there anymore. It's gone. Yeah, the river comes over the berm now. It's just gone. It's just not there.
That's weird.
Stupid. Yeah, I know, it's dumb because the rest of our lake or whatever. All right, sorry, rabbit hole.
Complaining on Ohio.
Yeah.
Well, Alex, let's get into your tournament day. I mean, you are the big champion of the weekend there. So let's hear how it went.
It was fun. I mean, I caught a ton of fish throughout the day. You know, it was one of those things. Without giving away too much, because there's a big event coming up. But you know, unlike JR, I mean, I caught him on a chatterbait.
Of course.
It was, and they were eating it good to the point to where, I mean, they were wrecking it, you know, and it was good. It doesn't always work like that for me. I've predominantly, you know, been a spinnerbait guy, but you know, it's hard to throw something else when that's working. So I also throw tubes, and they're very effective. I'm a fan of the River Rock custom baits. I have no affiliation with them, but I feel like they build a pretty good tube. I like their colors, and they make a small 2 3/4 that I really like to throw with like a 16th ounce, you know, 1/0 jig head. That's kind of my go-to. Lighter the better. I almost like to float them through current. To be honest with you, it's one of my favorite ways.
I've always wondered if that was an effective,
like a weightless tube.
It's
weightless or like a really lightweight.
Yeah, like
just let it get
8
swept
ounce.
in the current.
Yes.
Yep.
That's
now I gotta try
one
it.
of my favorite ways to catch them. And they hit it so hard, you know. I've always said my favorite bite out of all fishing, doesn't matter what it is a smallmouth spinnerbait bite. It's like lightning strikes the rod. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I like topwater. Topwater's great. Topwater's also frustrating because I think like the hookup ratio kind of kills it for me. But when on a taunt line, when a smallmouth bites a spinnerbait, there's nothing better. That's my, if I could catch fish every day, you know, that's how I want to catch them. So, but I never ended up throwing a spinnerbait on Saturday, so I didn't need to.
Hard to put down the chatterbob, man.
Well, no, and I did. I mean, I caught them on everything though. That was the difference. I mean, I caught some on a tube. I caught some on the chatterbait. Don't overlook cranking, because it's an effective tool there. Some of my good fish were crankbait bites. So
I'm wanting to ask you all these details and all this, but I know that this big event's coming up, so
I'm
I'm
not going to delve into it. I know. Like, maybe after the BOS we can have an after action, and I will absolutely.
We'll have a part 2 because I'm very interested.
I'm gonna be here for that because I keep wanting. Every time you say something, I'm like, I'm getting ready to say it, and I'm like, no, I can't.
Well, it's like I'm trying to pay attention, and I'm over here trying to figure out how to design a question where you can tell me and not tell everyone else at the same time, basically.
Well, I know that your guys' big following is podcast, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So let me do something for you guys. I'm going to try a little test run here, and I know this is going to be backwards, so you'll have to mirror image it.
We're putting baits together over here is what it sounds like. This is when I wish we had the live editing skills to blur stuff.
And I don't want you guys to say anything. Let's get some more viewers watching.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I know who he.
Yes.
Okay. So let's see what that does.
Yeah. Everyone be quiet. No one speak. Move along.
Yeah. So there you go.
I'm not gonna. We're just gonna keep going.
Yeah,
So
hey, do you
We're
think
all
we
sitting here
sparked
trying to think of what to say because we don't want to.
I know.
Like like if this, I would just be like, all right, so continue to say what you were saying because I can't say anything.
Yeah, so
because
there I
I'm
was
just gonna
floating
ruin it.
down in my Hobie Pro Angler, looking at all the fun places to. No, very similar today. What JR was talking about, different technique, different but similar. Sometimes I feel like what you have confidence throwing at the certain moment makes the bigger difference. You know, it's hard to put down the spinner bait when you just got bit by it because that's what they're biting, right? I think it would have been different. I might have thrown the spinner bait more had I not just caught a decent fish on a chatterbait. And then so that's kind of my day on the river of just especially during a tournament. It's not experimental day while you're out there tournament fishing. You're like, hell no,
Yeah.
I'm catching them on this. I'm gonna live or die by the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
That's like you talked about top
Really?
water a second ago and frustrating. That is the problem. Is it's my favorite, and God forbid something, whether it's the right species or not, bites it, then it's just stuck in my hand all day.
Yeah.
So I
Because
totally
you get that one lightning big bite and you're like, fun, and that's all you want to do.
Yeah.
Like-
exactly. And the fun
especially
factor.
smallies on top, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
And when I
Smallies on
throw-
top on a spook. Ugh.
When I throw
Oh.
top water and they pull the Houdini on me, 6 out of 8 times, then it's not the fun factor, it's the suck factor, and you're like, why do I suck so bad at this? It's really bad. So
Why does this bait suck? It's the bait's fault. I got the
no,
wrong rod.
I blame
Yeah.
myself because I see other people catching it on it, and I'm like, all right, well, it's just me. That's just,
Yeah.
you just suck today, Alex. You're not very good. So
I think what's even worse is catching them on something that you don't like. Like last year, I had a day. I'm not a huge fan of the fluke. I know
Me
it
neither.
produces. I just don't
I
like.
love it.
I'd rather,
but it
I'd
works.
but it just works. Like I'd rather throw a hard body. Like I'd rather throw a Mega Bass Vision 110.
Sure.
Everyone in the paddle and fin group calls me the JDM Lord because I love JDM stuff. But
Yeah.
it was one day, dude. I threw a fluke because I was like, oh, I'll just throw this caffeine chat out, and I got bit. I threw it again, got bit. I changed. I was like, nope, done. They're biting. They're eating something else. Nothing for 2 hours. Threw the fluke, caught like 12 more fish. I was like, this is stupid. Like I just don't want to catch fish on this, but I'm catching fish, and I don't know. It's just annoying.
I'm stubborn enough. No, it'd be different in a tournament, but I'm stubborn enough, because I'm the same way with the fluke. Have a love-hate relationship with it. But we went out to a little honey hole on Lake Gunnersville, and my buddy was wrecking them on the fluke, and I was like, I don't care, I'm not throwing it. I don't care. Just keep catching your 5-pounders. I don't care.
Yeah.
But-
No. So we've got a local guy, Aaron Fetterman, and we coined him the term the fluke master. I mean, he lives or dies by it, and it's when he kills it on it, he kills it on it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and he's very effective fluke fisherman. I can't do it, man. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, it's. Just,
I own a ton of them, and every time I pull that little container out in the garage, I get this weird feeling like I don't like this. It's supposed to show you my confidence is in the absolute dirt right now. I'm just dragging my confidence in like a bag on the gravel road behind me. So,
That's
yeah.
funny.
What kills my confidence with the fluke and other ways of using it too, I don't know if anybody's familiar with a donkey rig, is when you get a donkey rig going and you get 2 fluke dancing and jerking around like little bait fish and you don't catch fish. I don't understand.
It makes no sense.
It looks
goes
too
against
good
everything.
to not work.
If a bait takes me longer than 5 minutes to tie on, I don't want to catch them on it. Forget about it.
My secret's I tie up multiple donkey rigs and put them in a Ziploc bag before I go out, just so I don't have to fool with it.
Well,
That's smart.
Bless you in your preparation.
No one will ever say that to me again, for sure.
Yeah. No.
See, and I always have a fluke tied on when I go up there.
They're behind me, spinning around, wrapping up other rods. With the
That's me in a drop shot.
I haven't. Oh yeah, drop shot's the same way. I love to catch fish on a drop shot, but I haven't figured out the most effective way to like carry it around and tote it on a kayak because I'm always fighting it.
Rubber bands.
Yeah, I know rubber bands.
I did hair ties one time, and actually I don't know what happened to that said bag of hair ties because God knows last weekend that little drop shot was. If you put a drop shot and an A rig anywhere close to each other on a kayak crate or 2 rod holders, shit's going downhill. You're not stopping it. So we're not all like Greg Blanchard with our cool bait sacks that hold everything so nice and neat. I'm not that guy.
That guy's awesome.
Yeah, he is. Well, we'll just get in towards the end of this just because I don't want somehow us to slip up and divulge too much. You know, we're glad that y'all came on. And again, I think we've got some time after the Susky where we won't have any big majors. And I've already made a little note here. We'll probably get a couple of those people and a couple of you guys or y'all two from the Hobie, or maybe it's just y'all because y'all kicked ass at the Hobie. And then you can really get into some, hell yeah.
That'd be
get
sweet.
in some real like gangster information on fishing the Susky because I know another one of our hosts would like to get in on it too. I know Sean lives up there on this or near the Susky, and he's getting pretty good. He's going to be at the Hobie event, so good luck to him too. Maybe y'all can like 1, 2, 3 it. That'd be sick.
Well, I'll put this out there. Awesome. If any of you guys, and I know JR would probably extend the same invite. If any of you guys wander up this direction and you know want to go out, hit us up. We could,
absolutely.
I will 100% keep that in the list.
That's it's
Jimmy,
a world class fishery. So
yeah,
I just need a reason to go there. That's all.
Yeah, I know. So hey, I'm going.
Give me that reason.
Yeah,
that's the. It's the one place I say every year I'm gonna go because I like fishing moving water. I love like shoals and fishing for smallies and difficult areas, and I never make it up there, and I don't know why. I need to tell Brian we're not going to ICAST. Instead of him driving down and picking me up and going to Miami for peacocks, I need to drive up, pick all y'all up, and we just swing out to PA.
Now I'll tell you, don't get me wrong, smallies are amazing. Have you caught a peacock?
I have.
Never been.
No.
Yeah, that's just wait.
Okay. Well, you know, I used to go down to Florida all the time, and I just, you know, I need to. That's a bucket list for me. I've got all these little bucket list things, but it's like really hard to, you know.
Yeah. Oh no, I get it.
Because this is my problem is I hunt, and I've got like bucket list hunting, you know.
Yeah,
and
me
it's
too.
like,
so you have what my wife calls too many good hobbies.
Yeah.
There's no such thing.
And then I've
when it comes to hunting and fishing.
So then you got to do that, and I know JR does too. So it's like it's a balance right now.
That's what we're getting ready to go down to ICAST, and Brian. I was worried about getting everything set up to go to ICAST, and then Brian had mentioned that I could ride down with him. He's going to drive down from Illinois, pick me up, and he was like, "Well, I'll be at your house Saturday. We'll be in Miami Sunday. We're going to go with Nicholas Beltran and go chase peacocks. Then we'll leave there." And we can like either go to the Keys and go try to get on tarpon, or we can go up and catch up with Gene Wilson, or go to the Stick Marsh and try to catch a 14-pounder. So that I'm gonna be dead when I get back from this trip because we're ending the trip after ICAST camping on Gunnersville for frogfish.
Oh, that'll be
so. Fun. I'm gonna be smoked by the time we get back. But
looking forward to seeing how that goes because it sounds like yeah, I know. Like you're gonna be dead, but like, wow, live it.
Oh yeah, man. And I think we're gonna do our best to. I know we're doing a lot of podcasting stuff. I think we're gonna try to film a bunch of it just in case. I mean, I don't need a giant peacock, just a peacock.
Somebody please film Jimmy trying to ride an alligator just for me.
Oh, please do.
I mean, I got close to that at Lake Fork. I wish I'd had my GoPro. I'd turned my GoPro off because I was on the phone with my wife, and I came right next to a monster, like 14-foot gator on the bank, and was like, "No, I'm out." Like,
right.
I'm crossing the lake.
Do me a favor and just get your phone out and then tell Brian there's a gator, and I want to just watch him run.
Oh, I wish
that's what I want
him running from that one last year or this year in Florida. That was beautiful. We're in a little canal that'll barely fit 2 kayaks. He's around the corner fishing. I look up. He's making a wake as he rounds the corner with his motor on full blast and blows right past me in the bank. And as he passed, he said, "Nope, F that." And
Yeah,
I was
I'm
like,
out.
"What happened?" Oh
that's
man,
great. Oh yeah.
stories
Well, I
for another
appreciate it,
time.
guys.
But guys, we appreciate y'all coming on to talk as much as you can about the Susky event. And congratulations to both of you. We're sorry that second place couldn't be here to hang out with us. Sorry that Dan couldn't make it. I'm sorry that these two fools had to jump in and do the job for him. Totally kidding.
Wow.
But this is the part of the show where we like to let everybody, our guests, thank whoever makes fishing easier for you. So, sponsors, families, wives. I'm going to say it so you don't forget. Make sure you thank the wives. But JR, go ahead. You first.
All right, I'll start out with my wife, Chrissy. And then same thing with my kids, my niece, Sage, my both my sons, AJ and Trip, and then definitely my parents more than anything. My parents and my grandparents, and then last but not least, my sponsors, which would be the Flying Fish Brewery, Snagler
It's a sponsor
Tackle,
I could get
who I
behind.
mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Check out Snagler Tackle if you can, especially if you're fishing the Susky. And then Angle Coolers. And my family there at MAKBF.
Yeah.
I mean, that day that we were fishing, they were putting out posts just rooting us on. So I mean, which was cool to see, that rooting us on while we're fishing against others up in Pennsylvania.
Hell yeah.
So,
Yeah, we got
Yeah,
a cool
that's
thing
cool.
going down there.
The local
Yeah,
support.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
the
that's
paddle and fin
awesome.
crew just make fun of us when we do it, so that must be nice. You don't know.
Yeah, us doing good's probably like the worst thing that you can do is being us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what, Alex? What
It's
about you, man?
My wife Kate, my parents as well. I don't think there's enough credit there. Ever since I was a kid, there was always an open spot on the boat, open spot in the goose blind. My dad never didn't let us go. He encouraged it, and that's why I'm here. And then Delaware Paddle Sports, awesome dealer. They support me well. I love those guys. They're family for me. Innovative Sportsman, Trey Leach, Hobie, and I Rod Fishing Rods.
Good old eye rods. What's your favorite? We can do this. This will be some cool detail. You can go. What's your favorite of the iRod line?
All of them. I tell you, Russ Snyder put out a hell of a rod on a chatterbait. The Snyder Sniper is a wicked tool, man. I don't know what it is about that, but I can launch it. I'm in a little bit of like a debate with that one because like it's so good. But they used to have the stone, or it's still for sale too, is like the Stone Cold swim jig, vibrating jig rod. It's got a little bit, I don't know, it's got a little bit more like grassy, like Potomac River feel to it. Like it's just a little bit more stout.
Yeah.
So it's got a little more bone to pulling them out of, thick grass. Not saying the Sniper isn't, but like, golly, I can launch that thing. And then on the finesse side, the medium heavy power finesse is awesome for just about anything. Matt Newman, the owner of iRod, he just puts out a hell of a line. They've just got so many rods, got some new ones coming out that I'm looking forward to. What turned me on to the rods is he offered us a contingency program with MAKBF, and you buy a rod to get entered into the contingency program. If you win the event, you get a free rod. If you're the highest placing finisher for the iRod contingency for that event, you get a $50 rebate, and you can stack them as much as you want, And I ended up winning a rod, and I was like, let me try this thing out. And I was kind of a St. Croix snob for a long time, and started throwing his, and I was like, man, this is nice, And then I had gotten a couple contingency rod, and finally I was like, forget about it, I'm in. Kind of went all in, just head fillers, and He ended up bringing me on board, which is really awesome. He's a great guy.
I'm a Dobbins snob, but I've had too many of my buddies that are like, even guys that like, oh, I'm like you said, St. Croix. Some of them that like Loomis, and then be like, I don't know if you haven't tried that iRod though. So I'm like forcing myself not to try one for now, which sucks because Russ is my buddy and I really want to try his rod, but I know I'm gonna be like, well, time to switch.
That rod's gonna seal the deal. I mean, and when I tell people, that I'm with iRod, and they're like, what do you recommend, this, that, and the other? I said, I recommend a rod that you feel comfortable with in your hand, that you have confidence in. Whether that be iRod, I know that goes against standard protocol. That's what I like. I encourage you to try them. And I've always offered at any one of our MAKBF events, I've got a ton of them. I got like 15 iRods. Call me up. Let me know what you want to try, and I'll have it rigged up. You can use my reel. You can use your own reel. Just put it to test and see if it's for you. And if it's for you, great. And if it's not, it's what's comfortable in your hand, what your price point comfortability is. There's so many factors that go into the rods you choose. But so many people have just kind of, turned with them and they're really, kind of like them, and they support kayak anglers, which I love. And he supports programs. The contingency program was great for us. Everybody loves it. And that's kind of my thing on iRod. There's just so many. I used Bub's punch rod down in Florida, and that was way too much fun. That's more fun than you can have on a skateboard at the X Games, man.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt as bad. Well, I can't say that. Adam Reiser can speak on how bad a punch rod hurts if you swing and miss.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
Yeah,
That freaking picture still bothers me.
Little dental work on old Adam there, but he took it like a champ. And
he didn't get it fixed for like a good minute. He just lived it and was like,
that helped Adam. I mean, it was like, I forget how many thousand people had watched that on Wired to Fish when they aired it.
yeah.
And I was like, this is nothing but good news for Adam. I know it sucks because it probably hurt like hell and it, is expensive to fix, but like, it just threw him out there into like everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you get on a viral Wired to Fish video, it's nothing, even bad news sometimes is good news. So
Chad Hoover says that I don't agree with him on a lot of things, but Chad Hoover says there's no bad publicity, and that's a very true thing.
No, and Adam's a great guy. I love him.
That's my buddy.
He is such an awesome angler, but he's even better human being. He's like
the best,
quirky,
man.
And he just like, I think I overthink things, but like when you hear him talk fishing, it's like bust out the pen and paper because you better be listening.
Man, I had the blessing, and he stayed with me. He was guiding on Gunnersville this winter, so he came and stayed with us for the night to be a little closer, and we got talking one night, and like you're just like,
oh yeah,
what?
He'll make you go cross-eyed with some of the
well,
stuff
then when he
says,
leaves, I'm like, damn, I suck. Like,
oh yeah,
like, Jesus. And then he asks you questions like, well, what do you think about? But like, no. You don't want to know because I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
he serves up serving size humble pies real quick, but
heck yeah.
No, but he's he's such a nice guy. He's well liked throughout the community. I don't know if he's got an enemy.
I highly doubt it.
No.
If he has an enemy, that person's an asshole. I'm gonna go out and say it. Like I will be that guy to say that you were the asshole in that situation.
Right? Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we've had you on here for a while. I don't want to keep everybody up too late. I know Brad's probably ready for me to shut the hell up. I can see it in his face. But it was good to have you back, Alex. JR, it's great to have you here. I said, I got a note. We're going to have y'all back. I really want to get into some more of the more detail into Susky after these big events are over with. But we appreciate it, and we hope to see y'all back soon.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Peace. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me, buddy.
Heck yeah. That was a cool episode. I just wish you could go in more detail.
Yeah, I was fired up about it because Dan hit me up and said it was the biggest one, and I was like, well, before he could even say it, I was like, oh, that's sweet. We can kind of preview Susky. And then I didn't really think about, like, well, shit, they can't really say anything. Because this first thing when they both got on the background, I was like, are y'all fishing Hobie? And they were like, oh, yeah. I was like, well, shit. we ain't gonna be able to really say anything. So, but no, it's still a great episode. The Susky, it always interests me. It's always, I mean, it's smallmouth, it's moving water, and it always seems like, because we've talked I think we've done Susky shows 2 or 3 times, and it's always just a little different on how they're catching them, areas they're catching them. So it still was a great show. And
I don't even know where to start on that river if I was to fish it. I have no idea.
that's I feel the same way. Like I'm very drawn to it, but like what I know of fishing moving water, that stretches so wide and so many miles. It's like I don't know, I would not know how to break that down.
I mean, our river's like our river is deep in spots, and it's not that wide. You know, maybe
it's
same,
70 yards wide, maybe in spots.
I would say, and that's at the wider spots. Most of the spots we fish that are deep are 25 to 40 yards wide. Like you're having to fish in a line because you can't fish side by side.
I want to say, I meant to ask them, I think that the Susky breaks a mile wide in areas or something like that.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Like it is a giant, like shoal, like you said, the island covered, just broken up river basically is the best way I can put it. And like, like I think like, so like you talk about 40 yards jet wide. Most of the creeks I'm fishing, the widest one I've ever fished for smallmouth was 50 yards. But you can still, it's very much obvious of your deep sections or the current breaks that set up better based off depth or like that little bit of grass with the Susky. Like just seeing, that's when I get on like a YouTube binge, I love watching kayak videos there. And I just the videos, I'm just like, I don't know what you would do. Like, I don't know where to, I would cast at everything. Like
and especially after you said there's some dead spots. Now I'm like, oh, that would look so juicy. And then I wouldn't get a catch and I wouldn't know. I wouldn't think I was a dead spot. And even now, I'm going to forget this and I'm going to go and I'm going to be like, oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm not. I'm going to keep it in mind that if we get on the Susky ever and I realize that no one else is there, I have found one of these dead areas and to keep moving.
Well, good thing. Hopefully you can drop by and pick me up on the way there and I can just follow you.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that might be the trip we do next year. Is I've got the 2 places that I want to go the most that I haven't been now is I want to go to St. Clair.
St. Clair. Yep.
I want to go to St. Clair beginning of either May or June. I have to ask. June at Ash Trash Panda. St. Clair beginning of June, and then I want to go to the Susky right after that. Whether I take 9 days off and split it in half, but I want to get both of those bodies of waters in, soon, and then like right after that, I think I want to do Mille Lacs.
We need to have a PNF get together this fall. Just us, our group.
Yeah, like not an event. It's just I agree. I definitely want to.
Let's do it.
Maybe we can make somebody at iCast pay us, and we'll just turn around and get an Airbnb at the Susky.
I'm just saying, like, I'm open to pimp myself out for anybody. So
hey,
holler.
But I'm telling you, feet pics and OnlyFans. I just need one of you guys to do it. All right, well, we normally hit a little bit of tournament coverage. Great news for everybody oh, Jesus Christ. For anybody on YouTube, I am so sorry. But at the same time, if you would like to pay, I will have my PayPal in the link below because we just saw the bottom of Brad's feet.
That's the teaser, people.
That's the first time I've ever smelled a video. Like,
sorry, Jimmy, go ahead.
But no, you're good. But great news for all y'all that last week I think we had 23, and this week we have 2, and one of them was the show we covered. So the only other one that went on was the Socks and Cookies Kicking Bass for Troops event. It was a nationwide online event. Timothy Campbell had 88 1/4 for the win from Florida. Probably could have guessed that. Second place is actually surprising. Was Danny Bowen with 87 3/4 from Oklahoma. And third place, David Leslie with 83 from Florida as well. So couple normals, but Oklahoma getting up in there. Surprised though, we need to, if anybody from that event that put it on or that knows anybody's listening, if y'all are going to make that an annual thing, like hit us up, let us help you promote it because we probably could definitely get more people in for a troops event. And maybe at least get some Texas folk in on this to shut the Florida folks up that won this. So, and then for some reason, if you didn't catch on, the event that we had today was the Kayak Anglers of Central Pennsylvania on the middle Susky, 65 anglers with 5 fish. Alex Fiolka won it with 92. Jonathan Linker, second place, 91 1/4. And our man JR, third place with 91. So that's it for this week. Next week, we'll hit you with another big show. Think there's a KBF. It's either next week or the week after. I can't remember. But, yeah, appreciate you guys for hopping on with me and hanging out for real. I knew that it was worth asking y'all because it was about smallmouth, and I know that's kind of the only thing y'all care about anymore. So
It's true. Yeah. I'm all about smallmouth, greenfish. They're fun, but smallmouth or peacocks.
Greenfish in
I'll
Ohio
move. I'll
suck.
move. Well, yeah, most things in Ohio suck except for smallmouth. But I'll move to Florida and never catch smallmouth again for peacock bass. I'll just do it.
I would move to Florida just to fish the stick marsh every day.
I have no
Well, yeah,
desire
that
to
would-
go to Florida.
Well, then you have Brad, who's just a stick in the mud. So
We'll at least come
That's-
down to Gunnersville. We'll give you a taste of what Florida's like.
Yeah.
Giant
I want
bass
to
and
so
heavy
bad.
grass. Dude, I'm telling you,
Sounds
just
so good.
kick work in the ass and catch a ride with Brian on the way down. We'll get you a paddle and fin pass to ICAST.
I know. I know. I'm going to Florida in August, though. I'm already
That
taking
doesn't matter.
time.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know. I'll figure it
Life
out.
is only once, and we make terrible decisions, and we keep living. So just make a bad decision. I'll go ahead and
Maybe I
I'll
will.
put your information in for the ICAST thing.
Don't do it yet, but maybe. All right, cool.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in this week. Next week we'll have more of the same randomness, rabbit holes, crazy talk. But we love y'all. We'll see you then. Peace.
Later.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode here on Paddle and Fin. Be sure to drop a 5-star rating, a thumbs up, or smash that subscribe button on any platform you're listening in on. Be sure to check us out on Waypoint TV, waypointtv.com. Make sure you sign up for the Fantasy Kayak Fishing League at paddleandfin.com/fantasy. You could support this show through Patreon, patreon.com/paddleandfin. Don't forget to check out the website, paddleandfin.com. Catch us on YouTube. If you got a question, comment, or want to see a future guest on the show, be sure to email us at paddleandfin@gmail.com. Shout out to our show supporters, Yak Gadget. You can check out all the fine kayak accessories at yakgadget.com. Pelican Professional. For all your cases, coolers, and lighting needs, go to pelican.com. Rocktown Adventures, your Midwest premier paddle sports destination. Go to rocktownadventures.com. Eastport Marina, the beautiful destination on Dale Hollow Lake. If you're looking for lodging, kayaks, kayak accessories, or anything fishing related on the beautiful Dale Hollow Lake, go to eastport.info. And Jigmasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com and fill your tackle boxes today.